Welcome back to Hardball. Catch this. BP has agreed to release a live stream video of that massive oil leak in the Gulf of Mexico only after Democratic Congressman Ed Markey and other lawmakers pressured the oil company to show the video. And Congressman Markey says the video shows that BP has been dead wrong. That's his phrase, in its leak estimate of just 5,000 barrels a day. Congressman Markey is chairman of the Select Committee on Energy Independence and Global Warming. Congressman, how bad is the leak? Now that you've got this video stream exposed, how much is coming out of that hole?
Well, we know it's not 5,000 barrels a day, which is what BP has been saying for almost a month. We know, according to scientists who have looked at it, that it's a range of between 40 and 90,000 barrels a day, which would be almost 8 to 20 times larger than BP said it was. Right now, today, BP is saying that they're actually now siphoning out 5,000 barrels a day. And if you look at the video, then you can see that they have not made a dent in the amount of oil going into the Gulf.
What is your sense, we only have a couple of minutes, Congressman, of did they not put drilled mud down into the hole initially and then cap it off with the blowout preventer? Is that what they didn't do they should have done and they could still do now?
Well, you know, we know that there was a problem with the cementing. We know that there was a dispute that broke out on the deck, according to the 60 Minutes interview just a couple of nights ago, between BP and Transocean. There was a big debate going on in the hours before this rig blew. So there's a number of problems, including the fact that they were using dead batteries on that system on the rig on that day. So there are many things that could have gone wrong, probably did go wrong, that made this possible, including whether or not the shears were strong enough on the blowout preventer to be able to cut off the flow when there was an emergency.
What do you see down the road? If 2 weeks from now, Congressman, you and I are talking about this, and it just keeps ruining the environment in which we live, and it's all the way up to North Carolina, destroying this water, destroying the water life, destroying our beaches and wetlands, and destroying the hemisphere practically. When are we going to try something more urgent? Is there something more urgent? Do you drop 1 million pounds of cement on it? What is the urgent last gasp effort here that people are thinking about?
Well, number one, I think that BP should put this this flow of oil up on their website. I think the whole world should be looking at this. It's on my website right now, but I think the whole world should be able to see it because we need the smartest scientists in the world to think through how to end this catastrophe as soon as possible. They're going to keep trying to make it up as they go along. It's clear they never believed an accident could happen. They lowballed it for the first month with regard to the flow of oil on a daily basis. They're now saying that they're going to take another couple of steps to try to shut it down. But we have no guarantees that the worst environmental catastrophe in America's history isn't going to continue indefinitely.
Do you have a sense, or can you say now on the record, Congressman, that this oil company has covered up the magnitude of this horror?
I think that it's clear that right from the beginning, because they had access to this video right from the beginning, that they knew that it was not 1,000 or 5,000 barrels a day. They knew that it was a multiple of that, and yet they continued to lowball the number, probably to protect themselves, the legal liability of BP. But meanwhile, the livelihoods of people down in the Gulf were being put at risk because the magnitude of the problem had yet to be publicly announced. And so, yes, BP has been holding themselves out as experts. The people do not trust the experts anymore at BP. They want outsiders to come in to be able to do the analysis to make sure this thing gets shut down fast and that the devastation is not as overwhelming as it could be because this number of barrels of oil is absolutely staggering.
It sure is. Thank you, Congressman Markey, heading up the Energy Committee from Massachusetts. Sylvia Earle is an oceanographer and explorer in residence with National Geographic. Sylvia, I have great respect for the National Geographic, and my simple question is this. Who the hell is going to stop this? I look at the government. It's sitting around like the Vatican, what do you call them, observers. They're just watching it. I've watched the history of oil pipeline regulation going back to when I first did an investigative piece on this in 1973. The federal government allows the industry to regulate itself. They don't have safety in terms of pipeline regulation. It's not there. Do you have any confidence that this government's going to stop when we're looking at this horror of this oil going up the East Coast?
Well, we can all hope that we can use the technologies that are out there, but we need better methods for actually working underwater. Actually, the industry, the oil industry, has the best technology presently in the world, except maybe certain navies, for actually observing and working in the sea. The scientific community, NOAA, the Coast Guard, we're ill-prepared to deal with something of this sort or even to evaluate the consequences to life in the sea. We don't have submersibles. We don't have fleets of remotely operated systems of the sort that the oil industry does have at our disposal. I mean, we can hire from the industry such devices. A few institutions, such as Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, have undersea vehicles, the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute in California, of course, Scripps and others, but where is the capability for a fast response on the part of the Coast Guard or NOAA or any of the other federal agencies to be there on the spot, to be able to calculate the effects and what's the fate of the oil itself, plus what do we need to do to bring it to closure?
Well, that's what I'm asking about. Is the problem getting a submarine to get, can we use our fleet of submarines to go down there and get frogmen down there with torches and begin to close up that hole in that pipe? What is the problem? Getting there? Is it the transportation to the bottom of the sea a mile down, or is it the technology of closing that hole?
I think it's a combination. We don't have submersibles that can go to 5,000 feet, except for the Alvin, a few systems that exist in the whole world. There are only 4 submersibles that can go to half the ocean's depth, and this country doesn't have any of those. It's Japan, China, France, we're not, and Russia. We're not in the game to go really deep with manned systems.
Well, how do we dig this hole? How did we drill this pipeline? How did we create this oil well down there if we couldn't get down there?
We've got the technology to actually accomplish that kind of work in the deep sea, even essentially nearly twice as deep, and the robots that are developed to be able to go down for maintenance, inspection, and repair. But that's under normal circumstances. To deal with something of this sort is a major challenge that I think nobody anticipated that we'd ever have to do this. And there's some unique problems with dealing in deep water and dealing with the oil that comes out of such an area as compared to what is released at the surface. For one thing, of course, it's cold, and then there's the pressure. These are factors that we're just not prepared to have to deal with, and we have to get up to speed fast. The technologies arguably do exist. I mean, the capability is there, but we haven't made the investment to have a garage filled with submarines, a garage filled with remotely operated systems, and the talent to be able to go down independently of industry and respond.
Well, that was an exquisite description of a horror. Thank you so much, Sylvia Earle, the National Geographic. Terrible horror, nonetheless.